In 6 months' time, I run out of money, completely. Not low, not tight, not 3 months worth of reserve, out completely. I quit my job in January and I'm watching my runway slowly disappear. This is the exact position you're afraid of. Back against the wall, pressure building, money running out. You're terrified of ending up exactly where I am. It's the reason you haven't quit. It's why you label your passion as a side hustle, and it's exactly what keeps it as one. But I'd rather be here 100 times over. 6 months from dead broke beats every day in that job. And let me tell you why that's not insane. Lots of people love to tell you to take the risk. Quit the steady job that you don't like, chase something bigger. But they either do it from the start, before they've made the jump, or after they've already made it to the other side. You don't see many people in the weeds still saying the same thing. And to be honest, it's hard when you haven't arrived yet. You have to put the ego aside. You don't have achievements to list out. It's hard to sit in the struggle and tell the real story when things maybe aren't playing out exactly how you planned. Yet here I am, still telling you to go for it. Having quit my job at the start of the year, my side hustle's still not replacing my income and only half a year of runway left. I want to leverage the reality of my position to make your life better. I want to use the fact that I'm in the exact position that you're scared of to help you overcome the fear of taking the risk that's going to give you the life that you're dreaming of. I'm going to run through all my numbers, how I funded it, what I sacrificed, the lifestyle choices I'm making, to show you that the excuse that my side hustle isn't replacing my income yet is a fairy tale that you're telling yourself that's just keeping you trapped where you are. You've heard the phrase burn the boats 1,000 times. Give yourself no option but to succeed, no turning back. And while this feels like a really emotional decision and one that's clouded with limiting beliefs, I found that bringing a bit of logic and a smidge of confidence to the table is really what got me over the line. Because I went from saying that my side hustle has to replace my income for 3 months in a row to quitting without having made a single dollar. The requirements just got smaller and smaller and my confidence just got bigger and bigger until I finally pulled the trigger. But how? I realized that the constraint of me getting to any of these milestones was the lack of time and attention that I could dedicate to the side hustle. It's a self-fulfilling label. The side hustle stays small if you can only drip feed it attention outside of your 8 hours at work. So I quit. I went into work one day in January and gave my 4 weeks notice after working there for 3 years. Now it just so happened that my last day was actually only 4 days later and my notice period got paid out. But the reality is I had quit months before then when I'd committed to the plan and I run the numbers on what I actually needed. Now when I say I ran the numbers, I didn't create some crazy spreadsheet. It was a very simple formula. How much time do I need to be confident that I can make this work, that I can start getting paid for what I'm doing? And how little can I live on? What am I willing to sacrifice? What are the bare necessities that I need? Once you have those two things, you then have a runway. A figure in mind that you can start putting money towards from every paycheck so that you can escape. Now, obviously, how much you're spending, your expenses during this period of time, has a huge impact on the size of the runway and the speed that it takes to build it up. You really need to ask yourself how much you can really live on. What are you willing to sacrifice? How bad do you really want to get out of your current situation? What do you want to prioritize? What do you want to let go of? What's actually important that you have on the day-to-day? I prioritize my health and my location. So all I needed to be was living in an interesting place with access to high quality food. And so I could set my limit at 3K a month. And I made a lot of sacrifices to get to that figure as quickly as I could. I didn't buy anything expensive or go on any holidays for almost a year. I sold my motorbike. I sold all my furniture. I sold my ice cream maker, which I loved. And I started building my runway one check at a time. Then you just need to decide an amount of time that you feel comfortable that if you dedicated all of your time and attention to your hustle, that you'd be able to start making enough money to cover your living expenses. This again just comes completely down to how bad do you really want it and how much have you proved to yourself that you're a consistent person that can do the inputs and can maintain your level of work output. I gave myself 8 months. It was a long enough period of time that it gave me the confidence to pull the trigger. And so my runway figure was 25K. Now you have to save that amount of money from your income as fast as possible. Now I treated it like buying extra length of your runway. I mean, simple financial advice is don't spend money on stuff you don't need and treat it like you're buying extra time for yourself of your dream life. Where you spend your money reflects what your priorities are. I really decided to quit my job as soon as I came up with that 25K figure. There was just a delay between me being able to go to work and actually tell them I was quitting, where I needed to save my pennies to get to this 25K mark. And there's so much power in doing the maths when it gives you this much confidence. I bought flights and accommodation to Argentina in July of 2024, over 10 months before I was actually going to arrive. Doing the maths just gave me that level of confidence. And then we can step into reality. Me right now, 4 months in, working for my clients for free, pouring myself into the business with absolutely no financial returns yet. The doubt will keep building if you let it. The voices of the people who said that this was a bad idea are going to start to ring louder. There's real pressure now, and you could give yourself a genuine reason to be afraid. I'm fighting the prospect of having to go back home, knock on my parents' door and ask for a roof over my head. I'm watching my bank account drain day by day like a doomsday clock ticking to zero. Yesterday I was in the supermarket, and despite the fact that I'm missing collagen and magnesium from my diet, I couldn't afford to supplement it. The sacrifices get even harder to make when you're sitting in the painful reality of not having the results or the successes to give you any certainty. But I can hand on heart say that I would not go back and change anything about the decision to go all in. So what do I lean on? What do I turn to? What do I tell myself? First things first, you have to define failure as quitting. And then you have to eliminate quitting as an option. This 8 months could pass and I could not make a single dollar, and a lot of people would call that a failure. I'm sure some people would to my face. But I only define it a failure if I give up and go back to working for someone else full time. I'm prepared to move in with my parents or crash my friend's couch just to keep the dream alive, to not quit. Having that as the backbone of your perspective, it quiets the doubt and it puts failure as an option that's completely within your control. And now it's all well and good to never quit, but if pursuing your dream creates a miserable existence, then it's certainly not going to feel much like you're winning. The next biggest thing I lean on is the fact that I'm living so many parts of my dream life. I get to experience the payoff of the work that I'm putting into the business. I get to live the bare bones but essential version of my dream life. It only gets marginally better as I make more money. But the real reward is the certainty that I can extend this lifestyle. I've spent 2 months in Buenos Aires, Argentina, in the city that never sleeps. I then got to spend 2 months in Mexico City while the World Cup was on and witness some of the most national pride I've ever seen in my life. And now I'm in Colombia, surrounded by mountains and parades in the city that's called the Eternal Spring. Sure, my runway would have been a bit longer if I'd moved back home or to the outskirts of Melbourne. I'd saved some more money compared to traveling. But then when I finished work, I would be faced with 5-degree rainy Melbourne weather. I'd be surrounded by people who don't have the same ambition as me. And I'd have no physical reminder of what's the payoff for all of this work, all these sacrifices that I'm making. By bringing the most important elements of your dream life into now, by living them while you chase extending your runway, you get constant reminders of your why. You get to experience the benefits of the trade-offs that you're making. You're going to have a great time and you're going to be more driven to continue trying to extend the runway. You don't have to wait until you have some arbitrary level of success to start living the life you want. You can live it and work towards extending it. There is always going to be uncertainty, and you can let it build this giant wall of fear that stops you from living the life you want, or you can accept that it's a requirement of the process and probably a sign that you're on the right track. I don't know if in 4 months' time my bank account will hit zero, but I would still rather be here than anywhere else a different decision would have put me. I hope that if you're like I was, with a job that doesn't fulfill you and a side hustle that's starved of attention, that hearing from me in the pits in what should be a low point with all of the uncertainty of fear, being able to truly say that this was the right decision for me, I'm happy that I made this choice, and I'm truly loving the life that I'm living, I hope that it brings you closer to taking that leap. Wherever you are in that journey, in the comments, I want to know what you're working on and what's stopping you from going all in right now. Until you do, follow along. I'm going to keep actualizing as much of my potential as I can and enjoying the process along the way. See you in the next one. You stayed to the end, so I figured you might want to watch some more. YouTube actually recommends a video that it thinks you're going to like, and it's different for everyone, and it's right here, so give it a go.